Good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are having an amazing start to your Friday. It's a little bit cloudy out here, I think. I'm just kind of like noticing outside, but yes, will be a fabulous day, no doubt. And wanting to jump in today and do a training on really like how to be able to stay centered within yourself, not be too swayed or be undone by what's going on externally. So when other people perhaps say comments, or when you feel like an environment that either you're working in or living in, or relationships, or other situations in life are really challenging for you, and are persuading you perhaps where you're not living in integrity with yourself, this is really, really powerful in how to be able to step back into that. Hey Beck, hey Chris, hey Sarah, great to have you all on. So this is one of the most important things in being able to discipline and train our mind. And this is, I think it's so important, because your feelings will be your greatest gauge as to whether something is okay or something sits with you okay, or whether it doesn't. But quite often we make that wrong, or we make that bad within ourselves, or we judge ourselves, or we judge others, or we get defensive, or we feel criticized. Like there's all of those things that can go on that can really derail us and have us feeling less than great or optimal each day. Hey Sandra, lovely to have you on. Hey Rob, lovely to have you on too, hun. I've found, certainly for myself, that need for approval from others is certainly the one thing that can really undo me, particularly if I've not been conscious of it at the time as well, where it's like, and this is inbuilt into all of us as humans, is that need to belong, that need to be accepted, that need to be loved, which sometimes, we can conform to a society, or we can conform to an idea or a community, or even within our family. We don't necessarily want to speak up, or we don't necessarily want to share our own opinion, or our unique perspective, simply because we feel like we're going to be shot down, or we feel like other people are going to be critical of us or judge ourselves. And I had an experience on last Friday where, and I just wanted to share this with you, because this is how we get hypnotized, how subtle messages can penetrate very, very deeply. And it's so important to be aware of these and to be filtering the whole time through our system as to, is that okay? Does that fit for me, or does that not fit at all? Hey, Anne-Marie, great to have you on too, darling. So I'm in the process of just organising an arthroscope on my knee at the moment. I've got some cartilage damage to the back of my kneecap. And so I was in at the surgeon's office. I was having the first meeting and walked out, and his secretary said, "Oh, so you're having a joint replacement?" And I was like, "No, I'm definitely not having a knee replacement. It's just an arthroscope." And she said, "Oh, so you're not having a knee replacement yet?" And I looked at her and I just said, "No, I'm actually never having a knee replacement, full stop." And it was really interesting because, and I know that might sound a little bit dramatic, but the way that she said it was almost like, not condescending, but almost like, "I'm telling you, you're gonna be back for a knee replacement." And it was just like, wow. I have no idea of my body's own unique ability to be able to heal itself, to strengthen itself. And this is why, hey Paula, great to have you on. Thanks, Rob. It is, but this is like, we've got to be tuned in to when this is happening. Sometimes this can be as simple as a little look, or a little nuance, or a little look of disapproval, or a little like from somebody that we love and care about. And here we go again. Or the roll of the eyes, or the body language. It doesn't even have to be something that somebody actually says, and suddenly we're taken off course from our heart, what's right for us. I'm so passionate about this because it really, I feel honestly like it's been one of my biggest challenges, because I feel things so deeply and, from others. And so I tend to be a little bit more hypersensitive. But if I'm taking responsibility or feeling like, oh my God, they're gonna judge me or anything else. Like, I'm back in my ego survival mind, and it takes me off course, and it leaves me confused. It makes me feel like I'm doubting myself or questioning myself, even when, you know, my soul's guidance, I'm tuning into that every single day. Those ego survival mind, it has such a strong need to fit in and belong. So any of those nuances or looks or anything else can be so meaningful. We can allow those things to penetrate us deeply, as opposed to stop and question that and go, hang on, well, that might be their belief or that might be their idea, and that's cool, that's okay, that's where they're at, or that's what they believe, that's fine. And it's also okay for me to have my unique ideas, my unique perspective, and to feel centered and grounded and balanced and know what's right for me. And you'll know that because it will light your heart up. You'll be like, I feel like I can breathe again. I feel open. I feel free. I feel excited. I feel passionate. It will open you up. And it's little bit by little bit, the more that we do that, then this will actually make such a difference to your life as well. Hey, Christy, great to have you on, darling. For a long time, I lived in a way where I was just a shell of myself. I was so tuned in and locked in and so scared about upsetting somebody, or so worried about doing the wrong thing by somebody, or having somebody yell at me, or having somebody be unhappy with me, even if it was a subtle look. I just tended to take things so personally. It was because I hadn't strengthened this sense of self, or this sense of integrity in who am I and what is important to me, and am I living my life in a way that is congruent and in integrity with that. And it's so important when you come into this life. I really feel that each of us have got our own divine mission or our own divine purpose, and you know, sometimes we can feel like we need to be hit by lightning, or we need to be struck by some bold statement, or have some words spoken to us from somebody else. And again, that's looking for that external authority. Come back to what lights you up. What is your purpose today? It could be just feeling great with what you're doing. It could be just getting to experience you and getting to know you and understand you. But if we are so hooked into what everybody else is thinking, or what everybody else's ideas are, or what everybody else's judgment of us is for doing that particular thing, we're going to be swayed off center every single time, and we're going to get knocked out of our own center and feel like rubbish internally. And it can be so challenging, hey Paula, to continually be living in that state. And I know for me, it's like my little 3-year-old girl gets really triggered. She feels really scared. She feels really vulnerable. She feels threatened almost by everyone. And I feel like I've kind of got to shut the doors or just withdraw, just to be in my own energy, to reground, recenter, and rebalance. And if you're a bit of an introvert, you might really relate to that as well. Hey Deb, great to have you on. It's certainly been something that's been really important to me, because I feel other people's energy intensely. Therefore, when I'm in my own space, then it's like I can figure out, well, what's mine as opposed to what's everybody else's. And I think on some level, we're all, tuned into that, whether we're actually consciously, super consciously aware of, that's somebody else's stuff, or that's my stuff, or whatever's going on. But we can't attract that experience to us if there wasn't something inside us that was actually attracting that as well. So if you do feel like you've got a bit of a need for approval, or need for acceptance from others, which I truly believe, as we all have that ego survival mind, we are all hardwired as babies to belong, to fit in, because our very survival depended on it. And as we grow up, making more and more of those key distinctions, or those clear distinctions for ourselves, as to what's right for us, what feels great, what feels wonderful. There's so many different ideas from society around relationships, around money, around our sexuality, around, what is good, what is bad, and all of that is a judgment, as opposed to really tuning in to our heart and our soul and going, what feels right for us today? And you will do others such a disservice by doing something out of guilt, or doing something out of obligation, because it's always tainted with that funky energy of, and then if we're not getting appreciation, or we're not getting something back in return, then we can get to feeling angry or frustrated, or any of those things, if you're not taking time to fill up your bucket first and to stay centered in what's right for you and what feels right for you, you know, that can be really tricky. I had somebody reach out to me the other day, and it took a lot of courage because I really love this person. Like, I've got a lot of time and a lot of respect for this person, and she was asking for a donation for a charity that she was actually, or a charity fundraiser that she was actually running, and it wasn't a good fit for me. It didn't feel in alignment for me for a couple of different reasons. It was for something that was causing a disease that was causing inflammation in the body, but the charity fundraiser was about drinking and kind of like eating out and things like that. And you know, it just wasn't a good fit, because it's like, well, for me, it's like if we're saying, yeah, well, we haven't got a cause for this particular disease, or there's no known cure or anything for it. I know inflammation causes majority of diseases. 95% of diseases are lifestyle and thought driven, because our body gets into a state of stress, and that's what we're putting into our body. It's what we're accepting as messages from our external environment. So it wasn't a good fit for me, but it took a lot of courage to actually message her back and say, hey hun, sorry, I'm not able to support that, or I'm choosing not to support that simply because it doesn't feel in alignment for me personally. So even the most subtlest messages, hey Michelle, great to have you on, are so important in what we're taking in, what we're accepting into ourselves as well. So it's just about really disciplining, training your mind, what feels right for you, what lights you up, asking and tuning into your soul. And one of the areas that I think that this plays out the most is in the area of money. This is one of those things where, you know, we're taught so much from society. It's bad to be greedy. It's bad to want more money. It's bad to want this. It's bad to want that. All of those things, as opposed to what's truly going to be nurturing and supportive, not only for you, but enable you to give more, enable you to contribute more, and be a greater, better, grander version of yourself. And so, you know, again, we've got to discipline, train the mind, and undo some of the stuff that was subconsciously implanted in there as a child, probably from well-meaning parents. And I say that absolutely with love. Hey Marguerite, great to have you on. Simply because a lot of those messages come from fear-based ideas that our parents have, because they're just loving us, they're wanting to protect us, they're wanting to keep us safe. It's a little bit like our ego survival mind. It's kind of like, oh, don't go out there into the big bad world, or like if you go out there, like you've got to be wary of this, you've got to be wary of that. But what we focus on is what we attract into our life. Hey Belinda, hey Caroline. So we're constantly, you know, in that fear-based mind, oh, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. And it really shuts down like a lot of creative ideas. It shuts down our ability to be able to line up and see opportunities. So our focus and our thoughts are literally attracting everything. If we've got fears around having too much money, or feeling guilty or bad for feeling greedy about money, then it's really going to impact on how much money that you actually allow yourself. If you are judging other people for having money, or critical of other people that either drive expensive cars, or, you know, wear flashy jewelry, or wear, you know, like are living a luxury lifestyle, if you're critical of that, you are never going to allow yourself to accept and receive more money, because you won't ever want to be that which you judge and criticize. So it's so important to dive deep and really understand where have some of this stuff come from. You know, we're again impregnated, that might be too strong of a word, but hypnotized so much, just like I could have been with the whole knee joint replacement thing. And if you've just jumped in, maybe go back to the start to hear a little bit more about that. But we're hypnotized so much by what other people's opinions, ideas, and beliefs are. And if we're not clear on what that is, there's a saying, you know, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I think it's such a relevant statement, because if you're not clear on your own values, on what is true for you, and take time to get to know you and have that self-awareness and be discerning and able to, hey Sandra, lovely to have you on, thanks for the message, darling. And a big hello to Belinda as well. But if you're not able to discern and filter what feels right for you, what is right for you, what lights you up and helps you to, you'll notice in your body when you focus on something that feels really good and feels really right for you, you will feel more expanded. You will feel like you can breathe and you can take in the world. Whereas if you're in a state of fear or you're making decisions on based from a state of fear, which can be needing approval from others or needing not wanting to create conflicts or anything else, it will be from that fear base, and you'll feel contracted. Your chest will feel tight. It will be harder to breathe. You'll feel tension across your shoulders. You'll just be in a more contracted state, which is a protective state. We're trying to pull ourselves back in and stay safe there. Hey Karina. So that can be one of the biggest indicators as to whether you're making fear-based decisions around money or any other area of your life, or whether you're making expansive, life-affirming decisions which are based on love, abundance, having more than enough, and being able to contribute at a greater level as well. And your biggest key is, of course, going to be your emotional state. So if you're in anxiety, if you're in worry, if you're in doubt, if you're in confusion, if you're in powerlessness, despair, anger, frustration, you're out of alignment with the truest part of yourself. And we need to come back to what is right for us, what's going to light us up, and be able to make those decisions then from feeling a sense of contentment, optimism, excitement, enthusiasm, passion, gratitude, love, and freedom. So I hope that's been helpful to you guys. If you are feeling a little bit funky around money, I do have my Manifest Your Money course, which will be doing a massive deep dive into all of these things that impact our money story, that make us feel either guilty or worthy of deserving money, and how all of that is absolute rubbish. It all comes from the ego survival mind, how we can shortcut that, bypass that. And if you're somebody that deflects compliments or doesn't receive things easily, so if somebody goes to buy you a coffee and you're like, oh no, it's fine, I'll get that. If you're always the giver and not allowing yourself to receive, you will absolutely want to find out more about this course and see if it resonates for you, and jump into our 5-week deep training. Hey John, great to have you on. And this can be a rinse and repeat process for every other area of your life. So if you feel like you're struggling with self-love, or if you feel like you're struggling with your body, or if you feel like you're struggling in relationships, again, the same principles can be applied, because manifestation is nothing more than the conscious creation of what we truly desire. And we're manifesting all of the time. It's just, is it the experience that you actually really want and what you want to have happening as well? Hey Erica, hey Nick, great to have you guys on. So when you're doing the deep inner work, you're going to be clearing not only the pathway to receive more money and have more money, but to have better relationships, to feel better about yourself, to be more connected, like I said, to that intuitive guidance, to discipline and train your mind to focus purely on what it is that you want to create, as opposed to the old habit or the old behavior of worrying or stressing about what's happening or what's going on or what's not okay in your world, and then focusing so much on the problem that even if the solution appears, you're not recognizing it because you're hyper focused on the problem. Again, our focus is absolutely imperative in creating. We create through our mind, so whatever we're thinking about, we're creating an image in our mind, and if that image is exciting and something that makes us feel great, you will feel great from that particular thought, from that particular image. If it's something that worries you or stresses you, so even a basic example is if your kids are playing on the playground, you're like, oh my God, don't fall off. You're immediately visualizing your child falling off. You're sending an imprint, you're sending a message to them not to fall off. They're seeing themselves fall off because we think and we feel in images. So when we're visualizing that, then we feel scared, then we feel anxious, then we feel unsafe, or we feel like our child might be unsafe, so we panic and we worry. It's an instant reflection internally of what's going on. And what normally happens, they get distracted and lose their balance and sometimes fall off. Stay safe. Hang on. We want to be delivering positive messages, because the the way that our mind works, it sees in images. So I hope that that's been really helpful as well, just getting clicked into, hey Helen, what it is that you do want to create, not focusing on I don't want to be fat, or I don't want to be broke. Again, you're going to see broke, you're going to see fat images in your mind. You want to be thinking about what you do want to create, and that's one of the most important factors in manifestation. So if that's something that resonates, or you're like, oh my god, I need to figure out how to do that, please PM me or drop a yes comment below, and I'll send you the course details. We kick off on the 1st of April. There's a payment plan available if money does feel a little bit tight, because I do recognize, obviously, if you're wanting to do a Manifest Your Money program, it could be that things are a little bit tight. I know it felt that way for such a long time for me as a single mom, and I had all sorts of fear and all sorts of panic, and you get to learn exactly the process that I took myself through in order to be able to generate a 6-figure income and be living the lifestyle that I am today. So hope that's been truly helpful, guys. But remember, you create in your mind and with your feelings. So the image is what you see, the feelings attracts that experience to you. If there's nothing more that you take out of this video, do that. So again, when I was at the arthroscope appointment, seeing the lady try and implant me getting a knee joint replacement in my mind, I'm like, no. I saw myself visualizing myself running, being active, paddleboarding, riding, horse riding, like doing all the things that I love to do, because that's how I see myself, and that's how I know that I'm going to be creating my future. So just a little exercise or a little analogy there. So focus on what it is that you do want. We need to discipline and train the mind, come back to loving you, let go of needing other people's approval, and really step into that space of loving you enough to live in integrity and congruency with what you know is right for you. Big love. So much gratitude. Thank you so much for tuning in, and yes, I truly hope that that's been helpful for you, and as always, pop below if there's anything else that is kind of bugging you, you're like, I'm not really sure about this, or anything else, that I love interacting and finding out more ways about what's going on for you and how I might be able to help. So have an amazing day, guys. Lots of love. Bye.